So during my time in Imperial Valley, I've had the opportunity to meet people who are Mexican, Hispanic, white, African American, but that's about it. It never really went beyond that. However, during my time in high school, I did have the opportunity to meet two individuals who were Filipino, and these two individuals ended up becoming good friends of mine, which is what inspired me to focus my research on the traditions in the Philippines. So my general thesis for this speech is just to educate you guys on two traditions that I found really interesting that are very common in the Filipino culture that I would like to share with you guys to allow you to have more um, exposure to the culture like I did. And so the two the two traditions that I found really interesting is one, the fact that they actually celebrate Christmas a whole lot earlier than we do, where they end up celebrating it as early as September and ending in beginning of January. And the second thing that I found very interesting is the fact that majority of our foreign nurses here in the US are actually from the Philippines, where around 25% of them actually um, actually come from Filipino culture. And so I just thought that was really interesting. And starting off with the Christmas thing, according to an article written by Shannon Wells, they stated how in the Philippines, Christmas is a multi month celebration where it lasts through what they call the quote unquote Burr months. That ranges from September, October, November, October, and December. And then, of course, ending beginning of January. So, I thought that was really interesting how they do that. The fact that they dedicate all the time from as early as September to January, Here in the US, I'm sure most of you know, a lot of us do enjoy Halloween. And so we like to dedicate the whole fall season as what we call spooky season. And so the fact that they decide to celebrate all that time towards Christmas instead, I just found that really interesting. And so when I did more research onto why they did that, according to one article by Jewish Bunye, they did state how by celebrating Christmas early, it did allow um, the people to have less stress about the holidays and allowed them to plan more accordingly because they have all that time from September to December to plan what they need to plan and not have to worry about, getting things done last minute. However, through more research onto why they do celebrate it early, I did see multiple reasons as to why that all may be true or may not be. One of them was that they're really heavy on religion. And so, since Christmas is a religious holiday, they decide to go all in on it because because the Filipinos are very Catholic. And another reason that I saw is just to help, as I said before, ease the stress of it. So it allows Filipinos to not have to worry about, like, let's say, parents having to worry about their kids' favorite toys being out of stock by the time of the holidays because they'll have all that time to get whatever they need to get and be prepared to celebrate the holidays as soon as it occurs. However, one of the ones that really stuck to me was that they see it as more of a marketing stunt, which allows which allows markets like toy manufacturers to make profit off the holidays more because they have all the time from September to December to sell their products to those who are dying to get their hands on whatever toy, whatever game, whatever just whatever gift that the kids are really fawning over at the moment. So I just thought those are all really interesting reasons, and I'm not sure which is true. They could all be true, they could all not be true. But overall, I just thought they were really interesting. And so, moving on to my second point, just the fact that Filipino nurses are around, make up around 25% of all foreign trained nurses here in the US. I found that really interesting. And I'm not sure if, according to an article that stated 10 fun facts about the Philippines, that was one of the ones that they did, which is what urged me to look more into it. And when I started doing more research onto why that is, another research written by um, I didn't really get a author's name on it. It didn't have an author's name. However, it did state that it comes from the fact that the country focuses on an education of a higher level, and so the fact that the Filipinos have strong work ethic in their culture, it really demonstrates how far that they're willing to go. And honestly, I didn't do really much research. I didn't do more research than that because I ended up getting into a conversation about my Filipino friend who was a nurse major in the beginning of her time at IVC, where she gave me her perspective on the whole thing. Where apparently in the Philippines, it's become more of a stereotype for smart Filipino men and women to go into nursing. And so now apparently it's kind of seen as disrespectful in a way because most people are kind of expecting it, which I thought was a very interesting point of view. I would not have known that, nor did I come across that during my research, but um, pretty much that's what I found really interesting about that. And so, honestly, those two are the things I found really interesting about the whole Filipino cultures, about their traditions. And I did fact check with my friend about all both of them, and she did help clear some more light on both, which I do have to thank her for that. Shout out to Mary. And pretty much a good way to end. Pretty much a quick review or quick recap of what I talked about is the fact that they celebrate Christmas a whole lot earlier than we do, starting in September to December, early January, because of many reasons. It could be ranges from religion reasons, merch, high merchandise reasons, and just overall to relieve stress, and also the fact that majority of our foreign trained nurses here in the US actually come from Filipino cultures. And honestly, something I want you all to leave off with is just remember that we're not the only ones here. You know, living here in the Imperial Valley, we only get exposed to Mexican American culture or just Mexican culture. So I really did enjoy this project because it allowed me to help expand my horizons and learn more about the culture that my friends are. And I found that really interesting. I ended up having some really good conversations. And yeah, just don't be afraid to learn more. It can never hurt.